Solving linear equations. There are 4 basic steps to solving linear equations. First, we'll simplify each side. Then, we'll get the x terms, or whatever variables being used, get those terms on one side, and get the number terms on the other. Lastly, we'll divide off the coefficient. Sometimes it may be better to multiply, but 90% of the time you can just divide off. Let's look at 4 examples. The first one here is negative 9.3x plus 1.7 equals negative 29.1 minus 1.6. I deliberately did a decimal problem here because I want you not to be scared of decimals. They're going to work the same way as the rest of algebra, okay? So we're going to get the x's on both sides. On both sides, we're going to get them on one side now because, look, there's no simplifying to do. No simplifying at all. Those are unlike terms. So we're just going to get the x's over. I like the left side as long as I'm not emptying out the right. Those go out, and we get negative 7.7x plus 1.7 equals negative 29.1. Now we're going to get the numbers on the other side. Again, you don't want to empty out one side of your equation. So we're going to subtract off the 1.7. We get negative 7.7x equals negative 30.8. Now we're going to divide by a negative 7.7. This is how I write my division with a fraction bar, but you just key this in as division in your calculator. And we see x comes out to a nice little number 4. Now let's do one with a fraction in it. These fractions aren't particularly hard, but some people are nervous about fractions anyway. So here you see we do have simplifying to do. We need to multiply through the 1/5. 1/5 r plus. Now, when you take 1/5 times 6, by hand you'll get 6/5. On the calculator, it will give you 1 1/5. Okay? So you do 1, use your fraction key, 5, and then times 6 equals. And that will give you that result of 1 1/5. Over here you do 1/7 r plus, let me write that's calculator there. Okay, 1/7 r plus 1/7 times 8, which gives you 1 1/7. Okay, I kind of made this a mess, but the next thing is you're going to get the r's both on the same side. So we're going to, I like to go again on to the left unless there's some reason I don't want to empty out the right side. Okay, remember this was calculator stuff. It's a little messy. These are going to go out. And I had already figured this out, so I could just tell you that 1/5 minus 1/7 is 2 over 35 with the r on it, plus 1 1/5 equals, where? We got 1 1/7 way over there. All right, now we're going to subtract off the 1 1/5. And we get 2 3/5 r equals a negative, I'm sorry, 2 over 35 r equals a negative 2 over 35. 1/5 is actually bigger than 1/7, so that comes out negative. Excuse me. Okay, now we're going to divide. Here's a place where you could multiply off by the reciprocal. But these days, since we have our fraction key, we don't really care. You can just do negative 2 over 35 divided by 2 over 35 on your calculator if you want to. And you'll get negative 1. All right, let's look at 2 other problems that sometimes trip us up because of how the answer comes out. Here we see we do have some simplifying to do. It's all on the left side, but we're going to multiply out the parentheses there and get 2x plus 6. And here we can slip in a 1 and think about that as being a negative 1 multiplying through and get negative 2x minus 6. And then if you didn't know better, you might think you did something wrong because look how everything cancels. The x's cancel, the 6 cancels. What's really important is that the x's cancel. When you lose your variable, you know it's kind of a weird situation. We actually lost our variable, and the number we got is 0. Now, what's important here is that the two sides came out the same, not particularly that the two sides came out to be 0. The fact that we've got a true statement because it's saying one number equals itself means that for x, you could use any real number. And those are mostly the numbers you know anyway. Any real number for the solution. Any number would make this equation work. Let's do one more so I can show you one that's similar, but there's a little bit of difference to it. Okay. Here you see we have lots of simplifying really to do. And I see a mistake I've made in writing it out. So rather than do this whole tape over, let me just show you that that's an x right there instead of an s. Okay, so negative 8x minus 109 plus, and then that's going to be 8x, 4 times 2x, and then 4 times 29 is, I got that calculated out as 116. Okay, so again, here we've lost the variable because we get opposites. We don't get 0, though we get 7. Okay, when you've lost the variable, but you get an untrue statement, 7 can't ever equal 0. Then what that means is that there's no solution. There's absolutely no value for x that will make this equation true.